What's up, vinyl community? It's your boy Chris, coming at you live from the man cave as always. I know it's been a little while since you guys have seen me do a video. Probably a little over a month or so. Haven't had much time, been working a lot of overtime. Vinyl doesn't pay for itself, as so many of you all too well know. If there was any other reason I could think of to have ridden out college, just so I'd had more money to pay for vinyl. Maybe. Anyway, just a thought. I know the name of my segment is always Tunes and a Brew, but it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, guys, so I like beer, but I don't have a problem. So today is going to be tunes and a brewed coffee, right? Corny? Yeah, sorry. Guess I could have waited till later in the day. But so another reason for waiting and not having a video lately is I hadn't really had any ideas. I don't want to just do 80 recent find videos. In my opinion, those get boring after a while. A good one every now and then when you just found a shitload of heat, that's fine. But you know, like a stack of subpar Eric Clapton albums and a stack of you know subpar any classic rock and roll albums. I mean, all you have to do is walk into a record store and look around for 3 minutes to see that shit. I don't need to spend 20 minutes of my time on Instagram or YouTube or whatever showing them to you guys. I just don't. It's nothing that we don't all see a million times over. So anyway, so I thought to myself about an idea. And it was one of the main questions I get on my Instagram account all the time in my inbox from people is, so I really want to get into jazz, but I don't know where to start. It was, can you help me out? Can you give me a recommendation? Can you give me an album to start with? And you know, maybe an idea as to where to go from there, you know. So I'll answer, you know, a few of these questions, and I get that question more frequently than I do any other question I can think of in my inbox. So what I've decided to do for those people, and for maybe for some of you other guys who want to delve into the world of jazz and just don't know where to go with it, I'm going to give you a little intro to building a good jazz collection, a good way to start. And the advice I always give someone is start with this holy crap, you know, all-time popular jazz album. Just start there. Because, I mean, if it's on all these best albums lists, chances are it means that, you know, it's pretty universal to any music listener, and it's just a good way to start. So the first one I always throw out to people is Kind of Blue. Start with Kind of Blue. If you don't like Kind of Blue, jazz might not be your thing. But, so I'm going to give you a way to have 10, oh my God, heater jazz LPs in your collection at the very beginning, and ways to branch off from all of them, starting from Kind of Blue. First piece of advice I'd like to give you guys is buy reissues. At the very jump, before you know you're going to really love it, before you know it's your thing, buy reissues. The world of jazz record collecting is, oh my God, expensive, even for some of the like 70s and 80s reissues. Even those are expensive. They are expensive, guys, and I got to tell you, so like Blue Note's got the 75th anniversary reissues. Buy those. Those are like $13, pretty much anywhere you get them. Impulse is reissuing some recently. They're cheap. I mean, start there first. Until you know you have reached the point of saving, until you know you're gone, buy those. Once you're gone, save your money. Save your money and sell the stuff you don't want to listen to because it's expensive. And I'm there. That's where I am. That's where I've been. But don't start there. That's my advice. No reason for you to have a $500 original pressing of Blue Train if you don't really dig jazz like that. It's no point. Anyway, so got a stack of 10 records here. I'm going to show you guys, you novices, how to build a solid jazz foundation with 10 records. So let's just say you follow my advice and the first album you go for is Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. The advice that I always give to people who ask about jazz collections, jazz collecting, and where to go from there is read the personnel. Look at who plays on the record because it's important. Because all these guys play on so many projects. And then they front their own projects. They're sidemen on other projects. The personnel will never be more important on any record than it is on a jazz record, because you can go from there. So let's just say what really jumps out to you. Let's just say what really jumps out to you is saxophone and the horns and whatnot. Okay, well, here's a good place to go. I recommend anybody who really digs kind of blue to go to Cannonball Adderley's Something Else. Because that's like kind of blue too. Basically. I mean, it's got Miles Davis plays on it. Miles Davis almost never played as a sideman at this stage in his career. But Cannonball was on kind of blue. Miles returned the favor. He's on Something Else. It's a phenomenal listen. And there's another artist on this record I'm going to connect it back to as well here in a second. So again, going back to If You Like the Horns on kind of blue. Well, John Coltrane's Blue Train, good place to go next. Let's just say that's the one you come up on next. Phenomenal record. My favorite Blue Note release of all time. Easily, it's the only record Coltrane ever put out on Blue Note. But oh my God, it's stellar. I recommend it to anybody. So going back a second ago, let's just say you really dig the drums on Cannonball Adderley's Something Else. Well, my man Art Blakey plays the drums on that release, and he's killer. So let's just say that takes you to Moanin' by Art Blakey. One of my favorite jazz albums of all time. Again, don't start with the Japanese press, guys. Don't start there. They're not cheap, and you can find out if you like this album a lot cheaper. But for me, again, I'm gone. I'm far gone. So I don't mind spending the extra Skrilla, if you will, for that. All right, now, here's another artist that's already appeared on two of the records I've already shared with you. Let's just say, oh my God, you dug the trumpet on both Moanin' by Art Blakey, as well as on Blue Train by Mr. Coltrane. Let's just say you dug the trumpet on both of those records. Lee Morgan. The Sidewinder, guys. Probably Lee's most popular record. I'd say that's fair. My favorite, I don't know, it depends on my mood. But there's never a moment when I'm not in the mood for it, I'll tell you that. I love it. It's a classic. This is original mono. Again, don't. It can be found reissued so much cheaper. Now, again, tracing back to Kind of Blue. Let's just say you really, really love the keys on Kind of Blue. You really love the piano. Well, my man Bill Evans plays the keys on Kind of Blue. So let's just say the Bill Evans record you stumble upon is Intermodulation. Does he have better records, more well-known records? Sure he does, but this is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I just love it. It's very simple, very relaxing, good bottle of red, and an album kind of listening. So let's just say after you have these albums in your collection, let's just say, you know what? I really just dug that Miles Davis guy. I've had two of these albums with Miles on them. I love him. He's awesome. So let's just say you want to go ahead and get yourself another Miles Davis record. And this is the one you decide to go with. Let's just say you go with Bag's Groove. Phenomenal. Again, by a reissue. I can't stress that enough, guys, if you're just now really getting in. Oh my God, phenomenal personnel on this album. I'm getting ready to dive into a couple of them. You go through, let's just say you really love the keys on this one. Now, in my opinion, the two greatest jazz pianists of all time play on this record, in my opinion. Thelonious Monk and Horace Silver. Let's just say the one you stumble upon next, though, is Thelonious Monk. This is his best release. Some people might argue with that. This is my favorite. Brilliant Corners. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. And you're looking at those two records the last two records that you just got, Bag's Groove and Brilliant Corners. And let's just say you really love the sax on both of these records. Okay, well, who plays sax on both of these records? It's my man Sonny Rollins. So let's just say you go with Sonny Rollins Way Out West. I mean, you can't beat it. It's a great place to go. Absolutely phenomenal place to go. And then let's just say that after you have all of them, Who's a brilliant saxophonist that you've heard on a couple of records in this stack already? And oh my God, it's a world renowned and acclaimed on every best albums list of all time album. Let's just say you find yourself going to a Love Supreme by John Coltrane. Let's just say you go there. It's phenomenal in every way. And let's just say that lends you to, McCoy Tyner and Elvin Jones and on and on and on and on. My point. Start with a well-renowned, oh my God, famous album like Kind of Blue. Start with that. Find out what you like on the album. Find out what you like, what sounds you like on the album. Read the personnel. Very important. All these guys are sidemen. They all play on each other's projects. They all front albums. They're all session leaders. I mean, there are so many ways to go in the jazz universe. And the best thing I can tell you guys is start with reissues. Read the personnel. Find out what sounds you like. Take advice from a guy who's trying to steer you in the right direction when they know you're just starting out and is not trying to steer you towards the oh my God hip answer. When you're first starting out and you talk to a jazz head like me, don't let them point you to Sun Ra. Don't. I personally like Sun Ra. I do. But it's out there. It's out there, and get in deep before you start getting into Sun Ra. Some of this stuff is a lot more Ornette Coleman, again, more complex. I love him. It's more complex. So work your way to that. Andrew Hill, more complex. Great jazz pianist, one of the underrated jazz pianists of all time in my book. But just to go back a minute ago, there's no bad Miles record. Not really. Some of the 80s stuff maybe not so great, but 50s, 60s, even 70s, that's just all good stuff. It's hard to go wrong. And they're mostly cheap because he's the greatest selling jazz artist of all time. So you can get them for cheap unless you're going for the 50s and early 60s stuff. Originals. Like if you want to go to Coltrane, never a bad record. But don't start with Ascension. It's free jazz. It's just a bunch of guys just playing. And you have to really think on it. And so just don't start on that one. Dig around that one a little bit. See what you like before you go for a free jazz record. Can't recommend this enough. Not the album, because I already have recommended it. But Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. They never made a bad record. Never. There are no bad records. Not at all. They're not bad. So, 10 albums to get you started in a good direction for a great jazz collection. If it's all said and done, you buy these 10, you get to these 10, and you're in, then you can dig into the world of originals and whatnot if you really want to. But good reissues are there to be found. But a guy like me is just in deep. Maybe you'll get there too. If after this video you find these 10 records and you get in deep and you owe all kinds of money, don't come cussing at me. I told you to buy reissues. Anyway, so that's my advice. I hope that so many of you who have asked me that question on Instagram of how to go about getting into jazz and how to start a good jazz collection, I hope you're watching this video. I'm going to send you guys this link personally. And for the other 6 of you who end up seeing this video, I hope it was entertaining. I tried to get through it as quick as I could. Anyway, until next time, until the next video, keep dropping that needle, you guys.